Are you ready for the golden age? The Quantum Galaxy Network presents Making Life Brighter on the Voice America Variety Channel, where we prepare you and the planet for the golden age. Making Life Brighter features experts in their field and visionaries sharing their unique keys for sustainability on Earth, including all cutting-edge healing modalities, consciousness training, and natural healing. Tune in every Thursday for valuable golden nuggets of universal harmony and coherency with body, mind, and spirit. Each week, Winifred introduces you to thought leaders, best-selling authors, influencers, and Grammy Award-winning musicians. Making Life Brighter is your source for inspiring us to live in cooperation and purpose as we prepare for the golden age and beyond. The Quantum Galaxy Network invites you to join Making Life Brighter as we prepare for the golden age. Making Life Brighter is your forum for healing, inspiring, and uplifting entertainment. Here is your host, Winifred Adams.
Good morning, everybody. Hope you're going jolly out there today. And you're listening to Making Life Brighter Radio, and I'm your host, Winifred Adams. Wow, the world is churning, and we have lots of opportunity here in front of us to not only make our own lives brighter, but turn around and make somebody else's life brighter today, especially. So you can hear us here every week on Thursday at 1 p.m. Eastern Time on the Variety Channel on Voice America, and you can tune in all across the world. So for any of the archives, you can go back to voiceamerica.com and just type in Making Life Brighter. You'll come up to the show page, and on the right, you'll have all the archives. Be sure to follow along with us on YouTube, and be sure to like us and to share. So we have really been witnessing some tragic events over in Hawaii. Oh my goodness. This harkens back to some of what I've been talking about regarding a little bit of preparedness and supply chain issues. And you have to think about, if Hawaii in its beautiful natural habitat is devastated, that which might grow there, that which is exported to us, whatever it may be, we may have an interruption in that. And also, how long does it take for them to get back on their feet now and do whatever it is that they were doing? It takes time to grow back whatever needs to be grown back. And so we're sending prayers out today, and I'd like to start with a prayer today. Dear Lord, please protect all those that are displaced today on Hawaii, and all those that went with the intent of joy and fun and release and are brokenhearted. Please give them strength and wisdom. Please give them the resources quickly so that they can find solace and stand on their feet again. Please bring forward the light that will help heal their hearts, and that their traditions may rest in their hearts and once again be established in the new, in the light, in the restoration of the light, wherever you see fit for these people. May these people thrive from this day forward with new courage in their hearts and ideas of innovation, communion, and community that comes together to support one another. Thank you so much for looking after all your children there. And thank you so much for protecting those that protected others. And to all the first responders, to all the people working tirelessly in this very dangerous scenario, please give them strength and recovery and restoration and healing. Give them the love and the light that they need to strengthen their bodies from within. Thank you, thank you, thank you, how, and so it is, thank you. Bless them. Thank you all for listening. Let's keep that in our hearts, because if you've never been through a devastating event like a hurricane or a fire, you just simply don't know. You don't know what it takes to come back from that, and how hard it is to come out of the swirl of that fiery energy, because the energy has almost like a life of its own. And where people mention that it was like Armageddon, if you've never seen that in person, you really don't know. And it's a force of nature, absolute force, like a tsunami, but of fire. And that force is imprinted on the hearts and souls of people. Perhaps it's a reminder of the force of nature, but it's also devastating, and it takes years to come back, and people will be affected on every level. Those that have been burned, those that have smoke inhalation. Remember, we were talking about that a few months ago here on the show. We were talking about herbs for toxic air and smoke inhalation. There's a preparatory nature to these podcasts, and I'm hoping that you'll take heed and listen and share that for people. Because now we're in a time that's very, very different. And as these times roll forward, we have an opportunity to prepare in advance for wherever you may be. Just think about it. Everything is being affected right now. In a way, I think the powers that be are telling us that really nowhere is safe except for in the heart of your own spirit and that of the God light within us. Because here in New York State, they just had tornadoes for the first time the other day in over 50 years. That's different. And it wasn't even a really bad storm that brought that through. On the coast, on the Cape today, they'll expect 3 tornadoes. And normally there's 2, maybe in a season. That's just unprecedented. So we're having opportunity in all directions. And we're entering into hurricane season. And as everything begins to accelerate, including, for example, Yellowstone. So there's a woman on YouTube named Mary, and I've been talking about Dutch sense for a while and giving you those links over on YouTube. Mary is another lady. I'll look her up and share that with you. Mary is right on top of it, and she's talking about how Yellowstone is actually having some rumblings and grumblings there. And again, as I've spoken of in the past, and even many years ago in the past, if Yellowstone blows, my gosh, it could cover up to 13 states in ash. That is instant winter, instant supply chain cutoff, and it throws everything into a mini ice age. Okay, so they predicted that to be. Now, many of the scientists are talking right now about the change in the poles shifting. So every 12,000 years or so, the poles swap and they shift. And where the earth had been cold and snowy, it becomes lush and tropical, perhaps, and so on and so forth. And it changes based on the equator and the rotation and the axis and how it hits the sun and so on. Well, we're coming up on an extended event, almost like the 100-year flood in Vermont. We're coming up on the extended event where the poles may in fact shift in our lifetime. And that can be catastrophic. It can change. It can create giant tsunamis and big earthquakes. And if Yellowstone goes off, I mean, it can just be like absolute utter chaos in all directions. And to take note that the people in Hawaii couldn't call 911. 911 was out. So again, we go back to satellite phones. Do you have your satellite phone? Are you ready and hooked up for that? It could happen. And where they were having a very joyful, sunny day the other day, in a matter of hours, they have nothing, absolutely nothing but what they are wearing. I mean, think about that. So I know Monkey Works is big on the satellite phones, and you can go check him out on YouTube. And so Monkey and then WERKS. He has a really good handle on the sit reps and things like that. You can take a listen to that. But Mary Greeley, I think her name is, Mary is, Mary Greeley. She's got a great take on what's happening in Yellowstone right now. And I love her because she's so grounded and just kind of matter of fact in what she's covering. And like Dutch is talking about why everything's heating up from the bottom up and top down and how they're covering up what is there. But between the two of them, they have some great information for you, and I would definitely pay attention. Right now, you're seeing years of patterns playing out in a matter of months, where I've been following along since 2003. Literally, I've been following along what used to be Washington EDU and the USGS and so on. All of that is now coming to a head, and you're going to want to watch this play out because it's predicted that we will come into a small mini ice age. We hope not. It would be nice if we didn't, but an event like Yellowstone could interrupt things. And again, I'm telling you, and I'm giving you these shows based on holistic health and things that you can get and things you can stock up on for certain reasons, because we're already seeing some of these supply chain issues in the product. Now, if something like what happened on Hawaii happens in, say, Tahiti, well, people that rely on noni, for example, may not get noni anymore. They may not be able to use that anymore. So having provisions in advance for things is a really wise idea. And the products that I'm sharing with you from Nature Sunshine are one of the highest grade tested products in the world, including for radiation, which is very important. And some of their products are organic and some are certified to the top level rating, although they don't call them organic. And what they are devoid of is bugs, dirt, and other chemical compounds that are put into them. So this is really important, that those in those jars last 5 years unopened and 2 years opened. And so that could be a nice little safety mechanism. If you ran out of food and you just had a drink of water, you could actually take 4 capsules of spirulina and have the equivalent of a steak in your body in amino acids and protein. Did you know that? I mean, that's really cool. You could stock up on, say, almond butter and peanut butter and have spirulina. You're going to have some long-term protein. Now, that sounds a little dire, but maybe it's not dire for the people that just experienced a tragedy. Maybe they would be looking for that they could carry in their backpack or have in their car that they drove away in. It's time to start thinking ahead, folks. This is not a joke. The winds are changing. The winds of change are upon us. And really, in a way, there's no turning back. So we're going to talk more preparation here. I'm going to go into some things. But before we go to break, I'm going to read you my quote of the day from Rumi. Always remember you are braver than you believe, stronger than you seem, smarter than you think, and twice as beautiful as you'd ever imagined. Why are you so enchanted by this world when a mine of gold lies within you? That's right. That's your spirit. And we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back. You're listening to Making Life Brighter Radio, and I'm your host, Winifred Adams. And we're going to get into healing with cleaning the blood. We'll be right back. Stay tuned.
Welcome back to Making Life Brighter with host and leading medical intuitive Winifred Adams on the Voice America Variety Channel, your preferred choice for conscious education and entertainment, featuring experts in their field and visionaries preparing the planet for the golden age and beyond. For more information, visit us at makinglifebrighter.com in the media section. Be sure to like us on Facebook at Making Life Brighter. If you have questions or comments, please email us at radio@makinglifebrighter.com. That's radio@makinglifebrighter.com. And now, back to the show with your host, Winifred Adams.
Welcome back. You were talking about blood cleaning today on Making Life Brighter Radio, and I want to share with you Yet another beautiful Rumi quote that I think would be very, very appropriate for this day in lieu of what's going on over in Maui and all the loss and the tragedy that they're having there, which is just simply heartbreaking. We are all one-winged angels, and we can only fly by loving each other. That's by Rumi. It's very sweet, isn't it? Sadness keeps the wound of love fresh. That's a powerful contemplation right there. Sadness keeps the wound of love fresh. Sometimes we need a reminder, don't we? We need a reminder to be loving, loving to our neighbor, loving to people, and stop taking our pathologies out on other people. So I know I've definitely dealt with that in the past and maybe even in the now. But the past is one where I had some really, really crummy, diabolical neighbors, I think, that were involved in child abuse and drugs and other things. And you wouldn't know it where I lived, but it was just pretty disgusting to witness. And the police seem helpless to some of these things. And so in our world, we need to take seriously that if you gather together with an intention of love, with like-minded people, with like hearts, the cooperation of that love can move mountains. But when you get the one rogue element that's going to be gossipy and sniggly and slanderous and cruel, and it really comes down to how weak is your own mind. How weak are you that you're affected by all that? And then you turn because you're affected by that. That's ridiculous. So when we come into a place of joinder with people, even maybe without agreeing to that joinder, neighbor to neighbor, we have an opportunity to look out for people. And if you're not looking out for people in terms of loving kindness, then what are you doing? You have to kind of come in check of what are you really doing with your thoughts daily? What are you doing with your emotions daily? Are you gossipy? Are you cooperative and loving? I think most people are really. And then there's always a few that kind of test the waters of everyone. So let's be a better us today. Let's be a better communion of people and take what we've been given and be grateful for it instead of squandering it and wasting it and harming another. I think we've had enough of that in this world. And I think the karmas are turning really quickly these days. I keep seeing this happen where people that are purposely being malicious to another or overtaken, as some would say, by evil or gossipy or slanderous or cruel, really, just cruel, engaging in cruelty, those people are having their karma come back on them pretty quickly because we're accelerating into this window of time that I talked about a month ago. In the acceleration of that time, there's really no room for any of that. We have an opportunity to work together in every community because we just don't know, like the people in Vermont, one day can be perfect and the next day the whole town can be underwater. And everything that you intended to do next week is now indefinitely on hold, or maybe it'll never happen again. So we're starting to take for granted in our freedom outside of the pandemic that locked us up. We're taking for granted that freedom again. And I think we need to pay attention to still being very vigilant, not only about our own energies and how we radiate, but also how we treat others and how we come into that communion of community, because we don't really have time to waste. And where the people are taking a day for granted, they're finding out the next day there's nothing left. It's a very stark reminder. I've lived through that. I know what that's like firsthand. That's why I'm speaking of it. It's heartbreaking. so heartbreaking that some people couldn't even handle the heartbreak and died of the heartbreak. So let's not have the lesson come up too close in front of us. And instead, maybe with the joinder of a communion of love, we can come into a new co-creation of a more pleasant now. And that's what I'm aiming at. But preparedness is a good idea, and preparedness for smoke inhalation, preparedness for a healthy immune system, preparedness for antifungal, that's a good idea. And as I've talked about in the past shows, that's something we need to pay attention to right now, especially. The waters are heating up. It's going to have more opportunity for more fungal, you know, with the minerals and the change of minerals in the water. Even fresh water is being affected by algae blooms. We've got a lot of opportunity in front of us. There's change that's on the horizon that's going to accelerate. And if you're not in flow with spirit and how spirit changes gears quickly, you might find that to be a difficult thing to experience in your nervous system as we come up on this. So let's talk about some herbs. I've kind of mentioned Podiarco in the past, but I want to revisit Podiarco because Podiarco is one of my favorite herbs, and you can use Podiarco, P-A-U-D-A-R-C-O, Podiarco as a blood cleaner. And it's one of the herbs that I like to use for kind of really squiggly bugs that like to mutate and do things. So for example, Lyme disease, that's a great example of this because it's difficult to get at. It goes into the mitochondria of the cell and it transmutes and comes out in a different way. So it's almost like you're chasing a tail down a dark hallway, but you're not sure what it's going to look like when it comes out the other side. And people have a plethora of symptomology. And so they're taking this for that and that for this and everything, but you need to get up underneath its replication. Podiarco tends to have an effect on that, and as do mushrooms, such as like reishi mushroom or turkey tail, or even agarikon. So if you're chronically suffering from viral or even fungal, I think agarikon mushroom is really great. And you can, where do you get agarikon? Well, it's not as common as you think. And so Lance Shuttler just came out with a Scent Nutrition with his agarikon this year, and it's awesome. I use it daily, even though I feel quite healthy, but I do use it right now because we're in a window where the news is saying that there's lots of pink eye, the COVID is going up. There's all these different things that are going on that it could affect your nervous system and your immune system. So a very tiny dose of agarikon daily could really boost your immune system, and it's very effective for viral. So if you go to makinglifebrighter.com and you click on the algae oil link, it'll take you to the site where you can buy the agarikon. And let's go back to Podiarco. Podiarco is a regular herb. It's a single herb, and it's known as a blood purifier. It's an ultrative, and it has anti-inflammatory properties. It's antibacterial, it's anti-cancer, it's anticoagulant. It's sort of a blood thinner gently. It's an antiviral, it's an antifungal, it's an astringent, it's good for the liver, and it's a tonic. There's not very many herbs that can do all that. So Podiarco tea is really great. You can buy it in the bulk tea. And this Podiarco you can find at Making Life Brighter under the flower essences link on the main page. Click on the flower essences there. You'll see all the bottles, and that'll take you to the site where you can get bulk Podiarco in tea. And you can take a pinch of that tea and then put your favorite flavor along with it. Add a little honey if you want, make it into iced tea. And now you have a really potent blood cleaning and immune stimulating antimicrobial iced tea. It's fantastic. This is so powerful. It's really good for dermatitis, for eczema. If anybody has Epstein-Barr virus or has fungal infections, if they're very itchy or even if they have leukemia, like Lou Gehrig's disease. It's for blood poisoning. I mean, this herb is just like off the chart amazing. And it tends to really sweep up some of the things that are at the base of why body systems are not functioning well. So I highly recommend Podiarco, either encapsulated or in the tea format on a regular basis. It's something that's not going to harm you, and you can take it with other different herbs and things. It's even used for age spots. It's kind of a bit of an antibiotic in its own way because it's antimicrobial. And in the past, they've even used it for HIV and AIDS symptoms. It's just that strong. It's awesome. It helps clean up and heal up wounds if you have wounds or sores. It's a great, great herb. When we come back, we're going to talk more blood cleaners because this is a time when we need to pay attention to that. And if you have people that are displaced in Hawaii, maybe send them the show that we did a few weeks back on toxic air, because having them get that activated charcoal into their body systems and some of this Podiarco, oh boy, it'll help save them long term. It's very damaging. It's damaging on the cellular tissue all the way down your esophagus and your throat. You know, people actually can die of throat cancer because they inhaled toxic smoke. It doesn't just go to the lungs. It can affect everything in the nasal passage, in the throat, all the way down through the body. So to take heed that we really want to pay attention to what's happening around us, and you have natural ways in which you can help assist your body's healing. So we'll be right back. You're listening to Making Life Brighter Radio. Stay tuned. We've got more.
You are listening to Making Life Brighter, a presentation by the Quantum Galaxy Network for the Variety Channel on Voice America, featuring visionaries, thought leaders, and consciousness experts leading the way as we prepare the planet for the golden age and beyond. Right here on Making Life Brighter Radio with your host, leading medical intuitive Winifred Adams. Be sure to download the app. For more information, go to makinglifebrighter.com under media. Now, back to the show with your host, Winifred Adams.
Hey, thanks for listening, everybody. I hope you're going jollier today. And today we're talking about blood cleaning and supply chain issues again. There really are supply chain issues. I'm warning you, I'm telling you up front, pay attention, because that is happening. And right now, as I've mentioned in previous podcasts, certain pharmacies are having trouble even getting antibiotics. And then on top of that, some of the manufacturing sites are somehow burning down. So it's a good idea to have your own herbal apothecary on hand. And I love that idea. I've had that perhaps my whole adult life. And I continue to work at that and keep it current, make sure that it's up to date. Right now, I am in the middle of a special Ascension series with people, and we are going through this beautiful deep dive, and I mean deep dive, and they can tell you it's a deep dive into the science behind consciousness and what's going on within consciousness and how that plays into your own thought processes, your ability to expand your DNA, your ability to open your chakra systems and your third eye, and to manage your energy better. And so if you're interested in joining us in the Ascension series, definitely reach out to me at makinglifebrighter@yahoo.com. This is not a one-off class, but it's a multi-month course, and it is in depth. So if you're serious about changing your consciousness and working with it to prepare yourself to get closer and closer to your spirit potential, definitely reach out at makinglifebrighter@yahoo.com. And so let's go back to what we're talking about today regarding blood cleaning. Yarrow is an herb that is fairly prolific in most areas, and yarrow is a single herb as well as the Podiarco. It's an alterative, excuse me. It's also a blood purifier. It has anti-inflammatory properties. It's antibacterial. It's antifungal. It's an antiseptic. It's a diuretic, right? It's for the lymph system. It's a nervine herb. It's a styptic. It's a tonic. It's a uterine, helps tonify the uterus. It's a vulnerary. So yarrow is used to help work with the stomach, the intestines, the colon. It bumps up the thymus gland. It helps move the lymphatic system so the lymphatics clean out better. It helps to open up the capillaries so that they can deliver better. This is great for the female reproductive system. It's kind of a win-win, just like red raspberry is for the uterine lining and the uterus. It's for the hypothalamus. So for people that are having kind of heating issues and nervous system issues, it's a bit of a nervine. It helps soothe the body systems and the nerves. But what does it also do? It's good for like bites and stings. It's great for any kind of weakness in the capillaries, or say if you've had chicken pox or colds, or you generally have colds, it kind of moves that lymph system and helps it flush. It gets things through. It's good for fibroids in the uterine system. It's been known to help with meningitis or any kind of pneumonia or scar tissue, abrasions. This herb alone, the single herb, is so good to have on hand for just about everything. So you can take like 1 to 3 capsules, maybe 2 times a day with warm water, and it can be great for moving through colds and fever. Now, mind you, just 100 or 200 years ago, they knew this and used these things on a regular basis. We've really stepped away from this wisdom and this knowledge, this plant wisdom. And I'm not talking about plant wisdom in terms of microdosing. That's a whole different kind of plant wisdom from this. We're talking about single herbs that have a property or a quality that would be very beneficial to keeping your body system very healthy. We're not talking about mood enhancing or changing in the mood. We're talking actually about things that could be antimicrobial, and that would be great to have this on hand for you at all times. So the yarrow herb is very, very prolific, and this is one you probably won't have a supply chain issue with, but is definitely something you should probably have on hand. So the blood purifier quality of it is another great thing. So let's pretend that we were in Hawaii and we had recently taken in some of that smoke. Taking 3 capsules of yarrow twice a day along with activated charcoal would be really great to move that through and help capture some of that rogue element in the bloodstream and pick it up and pass it out. That would be very helpful. It would also bump the immune system, help the lymph system drain, and it would be very, very good for the body overall, almost like a nutritive for the body to a degree. So vitamins and minerals are good, but if a system is backed up or stuck, then the quality of these herbs that we're talking about is very helpful. The main component of yarrow is that of its anti-inflammatory properties, but its blood purifying properties. So if you have microbes in your body, a waste is usually ammonia waste, and that ammonia waste creates havoc because it causes your body to go acidic, and in that acid grows more microbes. So it becomes a cycle that goes round and round and round. And yarrow is really great for anyone that has like swollen glands. And you can bet that a lot of people over in Hawaii will have swollen glands for a while because of the intake of that smoke, and their body is trying desperately to clear it out of all the mucous membranes and the passages and everything wherever it went. So yarrow, and I would even recommend for people over there noni or noni juice. Noni would be really helpful to them as well because it's also a blood purifier, helps the liver decongest, and it's very healthy for body systems. It's sort of a preventative to cancer as well. So these are things that you can do, and you can pick up yarrow pretty much anywhere. But if you want one of the purest yarrows, again, go to makinglifebrighter.com, where there is the flower essence link, and you can go to Nature Sunshine there, the link, and get some there. So all these things are opening to us as an opportunity, and having the awareness of it. Maybe just one day something's happening and then it pings in your memory and you just remember, oh, I heard that somewhere. Yeah, okay. So please share these most recent podcasts with people, because the more awareness they have and knowing what they can reach for and get at a fairly nominal cost for their health is easy. And while things are up and running and going, here is a database of information that you can use. You know, on an energetic level, which is what we're healing quite often here at Making Life Brighter, we focus on what love is. And in the Ascension series that I'm working on with people, love is the all that is. And it is the vibratory frequency by which we operate. We lose sight of that, but it is the communion and the recognition of the Godhead in you and the Godhead in me that comes together to say, I see the divine in you. Like namaste, I see the divine in you and I see the divine in me. I honor the divine in you, the divine being the love. I honor your sweet, loving potential in you. And we are going into that more and more. What gets in the way of that loving potential? The thinking mind. And the thinking mind and all of its crazy polarized thoughts and judgments and sniggly behavior. So here's a beautiful quote that I love from Rumi. Lovers drink the wine of love all day and night and tear the veils of the mind. I think that's beautiful. Lovers drink the wine of love all day and night and tear the veils of the mind. Yeah, that's food for thought for sure. And here's another one. Lose yourself. Lose yourself in this love. When you lose yourself in this love, you will find everything. Isn't that true? Remember when I was talking on the show about the fractals and the periodic table and the breakdown of the fractals and the periodic table and the space in between and all that? That's what I'm talking about again. When you lose yourself in that, you start to go into those spaces and places, and it's just, it puts you in awe, and the awe of what really is happening is just astounding. It's a universe unto itself of exploratory bliss that no words and no human and really no politics can come close to. There are no words for the divine love. The other night we did a meditation on the Lion's Gate on 8/8, and it was very powerful, very powerful. We had some of the most beautiful experiences in a charged environment, and we have an opportunity now, this new energy coming. There's going to be a massive cleansing to the earth plane, and there needs to be a cleansing of humility. The humility is what we're seeking, really, because in that we can surrender. And here's a good quote by Rumi. Would you become a pilgrim on the road to love? The first condition is that you make yourself humble as dust and ash. That's interesting. The burning of everything, right, to the core. The burning of the ego mind, the burning of the polarity, the burning of all of that which is as you knew it to be, so you surrender. And on that note, we're going to be right back. We're going to have more for you here, and you're listening to Making Life Brighter Radio. And again, if you're interested in the Ascension series, give me a shout out at makinglifebrighter@yahoo.com. My name is Winifred Adams, and stay tuned. We've got more right here on the Variety Channel on Voice America for Making Life Brighter.
Welcome back. For more information, please visit us at makinglifebrighter.com. If you'd like more information on intuitive coaching, coursework, or to book an appointment with medical intuitive Winifred Adams, please email us at radio@makinglifebrighter.com. Be sure to like us on Facebook and download the app. Go to makinglifebrighter.com for more information. And now, back to the show with your host, Winifred Adams.
All right, everybody. Thank you for listening on this beautiful day today, and I hope that you're going jollier today. I have another Rumi quote. I'm on a tangent today of beautiful Rumi quotes because there's so many good ones, it's hard to choose. The mind is like a lamb, the ego is like a wolf, and faith is like a shepherd. If faith is not strong, the ego consumes the mind. I love that. That sums up all of my work. That sums up everything I've done for 25 years right there. Mind is like a lamb, the ego is like a wolf, and faith is like a shepherd. If faith is not strong, the ego consumes the mind. There's a contemplation to chew on for a very long time. It's a beautiful thing because fear and doubt cancel the faith. So do not fear, do not doubt, but definitely prepare. You know, God always says, I'm going to help those that are calling my name and willing. So you don't just call for help, you run and you call for help. But this one's appropriate for today. I think this one's really good. When you do evil, be afraid because it is a seed. God will make it grow and confront you. When you do evil, be afraid because it is a seed. God will make it grow and confront you. I like that one. That one's a good one. And that has lots and lots of meaning this day. So, we are looking at the seeds of consciousness, especially at this time frame in history. And I've mentioned the Bringers of the Dawn and Barbara Marciniak's work on a regular basis. And those come from, other planetary sources, but the greatest source is within us. And to reflect on that which you already are, because your vessel is complete. If you just go within, if you can sit still enough to go within and actually allow your faith to get stronger and grow, you will be shepherded, if you will, into a space of divine love, and that divine love will take you on a journey within. It has you shed the persona and all the electromagnetism of the persona in a way that gives you more insight into the greater truth of what is of existence. The greater truth of existence is sitting there awaiting you, and you are but one focus away from that. Now, the difficulty is calming the nervous system, particularly in today's day and age. And it's challenging to be in that great reverie when, say, you have to get up and run because of an earthquake or a fire or a hurricane, and where your life was settled and put in motion, suddenly a tornado comes through and it's all changed. And how quickly we forget week to week. We go on with our lives, and there's other people that are actually affected for a very long time to come and are suffering. So this might be a really great time to open our hearts again and come into a space of prayer, of meditation, of quietude, so that you're in awareness. Because just think about it. If you were attuned in a given moment, you might be told, for example, to do something in advance of something that's coming, and you don't even know what's coming, but it's coming. And suddenly now You are the one that's prepared. I'll tell you what I mean by that. Before the fires came in Malibu, and they came right up to the back gate and burned lots and lots of things there. Well, before all that happened, I was told by Spirit, leading up to that, when the weather looked great, to water the trees 3 times as much. And I did that daily for a month. And I thought, man, am I oversaturating the ground? Should I even be doing this? What if I kill the trees? Nope, Spirit was adamant. Water the trees 3 times more. And I did. And the fire came right up to the back, singed the edges, and the trees lived. Now, the trees were coughing a bit, if you will, but they had a better recovery, quicker recovery, because they were fortified from the inside out. They weren't brittle. You know, we're going to have a lot more opportunity for this cleansing and for this brittle, but by listening to the guidance of Spirit, I was able to, in advance, put loving focus to an event I didn't know that was coming. And in that loving focus of fortification, those trees were saved. And what's really amazing is I had a gorgeous orchid that sat near the sliding glass doors there. And the orchid was purple. It was actually purple. It was this really deep purple, like a royal purple. And after the fire, the whole orchid was pure white, completely white, and every blossom on it bloomed. It was unbelievable. I mean, like overnight, it turned pure white. I'll never forget that. That was astounding. The joy of seeing the synchronicity of what can happen with Spirit is so profound when you're tuned in. So maybe this week you can take to heart some of the things that were mentioned here and share with people that might be in need, but also have faith. Have faith and go within, because there sits a world of opportunity. Not in the I know, I get this, I'm psychically looking at that, I know. No, forget all that. Just sit and listen and be. Wait on Spirit, wait on God, wait on the beautiful stillness that resides within you. And there you'll hear what you need to know, when you need to know it, and you'll get the inspiration from Spirit that will guide you through and through. So yesterday I went and spoke to a man that is a great historian. He was teaching me about, in the day, in the 1800s, how they used to whittle out hemlock trees and use them like the Romans did with aqueducts in the past. And they would whittle out these hemlock trees and use them as water transfer systems to neighboring communities. And all the wisdom that went into how they would move water. Well, we're going to come up on that need again soon in different communities. And of course, we have much more advanced technology today. We have the ability to move water and pump water and do things like we didn't then. But it's a very good deep dive, and I'm going to feature that more here on the show soon, of what they went through in the day just to survive and to have water. We take for granted everything that comes to us, and the switch turns on and we're entitled to public service because we pay for it. But we're going to get a new opportunity in the future of the valuation of water. So stay tuned, because I've got some really interesting segments upcoming here on Making Life Brighter. And we will be focusing on what we value and what they used to do and what that might mean for us in the future. So thank you all so much for listening and sharing. And again, we're here every Thursday live at 1 p.m. Eastern Time, 10 a.m. Pacific Time. We're worldwide here on Voice America on the Variety Channel. and we are making life brighter. So go out and make somebody else's life brighter, and go jolly, and we'll see you next week right here on Making Life Brighter Radio. Stay tuned, everybody. Thank you for listening.